But this was the thing, bro. I was laying in the bed, my wife next to me, and talking about the father's touch of what Jamal recognized. Bro, my dad walked in the room when I was laying next to my wife. He sat at the edge of the bed, bro. Didn't look at me. All he did was reach back, old school style, touch me. It said, "I'm proud of you," and walked out the room.
Wow.
Brother, I saw him cry. I began to weep.
Let's go. What's up, Shon, man?
What up? What up? What up? We are here on and popping. We're a day early. Listen, welcome to another edition of A Father's Heart podcast with Shon and Cole Williams. What's good, man?
Good, man. I'm good, brother. As you can see, I'm on the new camera, so it's crisp. I'm hoping, you know.
Yo, the crazy thing
smile,
is,
you know, and the beer, you know, it's clear. I'm ready.
Yeah. Nobody asked you about the beer. I was just gonna comment about the clarity of your computer, man. Like, yo, you out here in these streets, bro. Like you
I'm trying to elevate.
You have elevated. You have elevated.
Yes.
I'm loving it. Look,
I don't know if you see the t-shirt too, man. I've been rocking this t-shirt because I think it's really important too to just, you know, I love the fact that we can come on live and we can talk about or wear items that represent who we are and what we do. And, you know, this for me is another representation of the importance of recognizing that kids, you know what I'm saying, who make mistakes and get in trouble, they really still are kids. And we have to hold space for that and make sure that we don't.
I can't see the whole thing. Let me see the whole thing, man. Lift up.
Let's see. Did it go all the way up? I don't know.
Kids who get in trouble are
still kids.
Okay, I like that. I like that, bro.
That's it. And I think as long as we can remember that, I mean, especially when we move into our topic today, because so many of the kids that I work with happen to be kids that are involved in the juvenile justice system. And unfortunately, a majority of those kids tend to graduate into the school to prison pipeline, which leads them from the juvenile detention center to one of our county jails, and ultimately from our county jails to our state prison and institutions. And so, you know, for me, the topic that we're going to cover today is so important, and it resonates very closely to me. So I'm really excited to be.
I'm just ready to get to this. Yo, could I show the clip? Let's get right into it, bro. It's already 9:40. Let's get into it. I want to show this clip if I can find the clip. You see how I was trying to hide? Hold up. Man. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna find this clip. Where he at? Where is he?
And it's crazy, man, because I couldn't even cry. I'm like, man, I'm tapped out of tears.
Which say you tapped out of tears?
Tapped out of tears, man.
I am.
Oh, cuz, I get that dumbass song for? Why you
What you mean that dumbass song?
Cuz,
what you crying for? That's your dad.
See, they already talking junk.
John,
what you showing? What you in there doing, Shon? All right, I think I found it.
Found it?
Yep, I found it.
Oh yeah, man.
See, I got it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make him a little bit bigger so he can cover my whole screen. If that's all right with you.
Good. Let's get into it.
Oh
yeah.
Huh. Stand up. You on the floor? Stand up.
See, this what happens when you do stuff live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the authenticity of it, man.
I feel like whatever that sound is, you know, the audio is. There's got to bring some great video to that audio, bro. There's a story in there.
Let's just do it. We just show it however it shows up. Let's go.
Oh shit!
Is it showing?
Yep, I can see it, but it's not. It's not.
Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to hit play first before we share it. How about we do that?
Stand up.
I can't feel that.
You can't feel it.
Oh, no, who's touching me?
Don't worry about it.
These my mama hands, they cold.
They cold.
Mom.
Stop.
Mom. What? Oh.
There she goes.
Somebody's hands cold on my neck.
Don't worry about it.
That's what it got.
Coming home.
Surprise! Surprise, baby!
I told you. Y'all better make sure.
22 years.
That's your soul, gang. Hey, man.
Just don't let her. Just don't let
get
her
her.
get her head.
I told you we had something.
I told you.
All right. Where's the
That's
tissue?
a lot. Right, man.
Where's the tissue?
Yeah.
Jamal,
Yeah.
you're right. These are the things we don't see.
Yeah.
Yo, daddy's home. When you see that, bro, when you see that, what goes through your mind? I sent you that early this morning without a caption, the whole nine. When you saw that earlier, what was going through your head when you saw that video?
Well, one, I couldn't watch it all, right? So this was the first time me finishing it because I feel like as I was watching it and I heard her voice, it really reflected for me her yelling out in surprise, but also in I don't even know what I was really feeling as she was, moaning out. It really, for me, started to echo. Her voice echoed for me what I hear from girls, but what I see in boys' behaviors of daughters and sons who have an incarcerated parent. And so I think for me, her moaning cry is definitely a reflection of what we're seeing across the country as it relates to children not necessarily having access to their fathers because of incarceration, but the pain that they carry every day because they do have a father or mother that is involved in the criminal justice system. And so I think I'm seeing these videos pop up more and more, right? And we get the first part of it, right? And it's the emotional part, but there's so much underneath that we don't often get to see that can show up. So, I was really, it was heartfelt for me that, the family would be open to the world to sharing this really delicate experience of this young woman meeting her father after all the years of him being incarcerated in person. I think I heard 22 years.
22 years, bro.
Yeah, that's
22 years.
a long time. That's a long time.
22 years. Now listen, I'm not even talking about what my man did. Don't know his crime, none of that.
Right.
But our focus has always been fathers and the impact of fathers not being present, it being either their fault or not their fault. But here you see this young girl, bro, who sees her father on the other side of the prison cell for the first time in 22 years.
Yeah.
You heard her wailing, bro. That was a wail of relief from like things that she probably encountered with men, things that she encountered with life, and didn't have the male's perspective, didn't have her father's touch. to have her help her navigate that space.
Right.
And that right there, man, just gave her so, you can just see the pressure just leave her.
Yeah.
Jamal said she said it felt like her mama's hands. It was a familiar touch. Come on, man. You heard that, right? Come on, bruh. Listen. That's deep right there, Jamal. Listen, he said that he recognized how she said that felt like her mama's hands.
Yeah.
A familiar touch, 22 years of not having that touch.
Yeah.
Come on.
But again, that's why we speak so heavily about the importance of making sure that when we talk about mothers and children, we have to make sure that we're also including the impact and the power that the father brings to the space of families. And I think, again, that it's an ongoing conversation that you and I and so many other fathers that are doing, or men that are doing this fatherhood work, we're constantly trying to get people to hear and listen to that. We really got to start talking about the fact that fathers, whether they are present in the home or non-custodial, whatever that is, with all the language that we use, a father's role is important to the life of our children, right?
Bro.
And so I think what we just saw, and here's the thing though, how many videos are not captured?
Yeah, and that's what Jamal was saying. He was like, yo, a lot of people, we don't even see that. And you know the crazy thing about it, bro? From what Tanisa said, she said she heard so much release in that. And it made me think, bro, about 3 years ago, peep game, 3 years ago, I was at my father's house when I was really starting to do the real work of, forgiveness. I was at my father's house, bro. And my wife, we stayed at my dad's house. My wife was laying next to me, right? She was asleep. My dad walks in the room. And this is before his dementia kicked in.
Okay.
Now, see, and that's a whole nother story, man, that I had an opportunity to get closure before his dementia really kicked in before I can get answers. Okay. But this was the thing, bro. I was laying in the bed, my wife next to me, and talking about the father's touch of what Jamal recognized. Bro, my dad walked in the room when I was laying next to my wife. He sat at the edge of the bed, bro. Didn't look at me. All he did was reach back, old school style, touch me. It said, "I'm proud of you," and walked out the room.
Wow.
Brother, I saw him cry. I began to weep.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear those words for so many years. I'm laying next to my wife. I'm a grown man, dog.
Yeah. And
he released me of all that I have of wanted his approval and wanted to know that he was proud of me, wanted to know that I was his, bro, that he loved me. And by him just touching me, seeing that and walking away, because he didn't know how to own that, right? He didn't know how to process those emotions. I didn't need all of that. But just by him touching me and said, "I'm proud of you, bro," man, I began to weep like a baby in the bed next to my wife. I was waiting 40-something years to hear those words, man.
And here's the thing. You probably didn't know that you were waiting 40-something years to hear those words.
No!
Because sometimes what happens when you don't hear it, you store it somewhere. When there's a need for that healing, you learn how to store pain somewhere, right? It stores. And then when it's time to open it up, all it takes is a word for that release. And sometimes you don't even know it. And so I think that's another thing to think about too when we're talking about children and the impact and the power of fathers, is that, when a child does not have access to a father, they start to store that stuff somewhere.
Word up, bro.
It's a storage that if doesn't get an opportunity to be opened up and unpacked, man, it lies dormant for almost 40-some years.
I want you to talk about this, Cole, because who we talk a lot about boys, but what about, this right here shows this was a little girl, bro. This was a woman that was missing the father's touch. We talk a lot about boys not having their fathers, but what about those girls that don't have their fathers, bro? Man. And we speak to a lot of professionals who's providing all this service, but when you do when you do a poll and you ask the people in the space, the people in that room, most of those people in that space, bro, didn't have the dopest relationship with their father, and in those spaces are mostly women.
Yeah, yeah. There's a longing for fathers and daddies. You know, and it doesn't really. I think when you say dad in a room full of professionals that wear titles, there's a space that opens up when you say that word. When you say father and you say daddy, there's a space that opens up, male or female, because there's such a yearning for him. And I think one of the things that I've learned with working with fathers is that they don't oftentimes know how the length of longing that children have for them. Like they don't necessarily see the gift. They don't see that they are the enough. They don't
Word up.
see it. Then I recognize too, man. Nobody tells them. There's a lot of people that don't tell you. And so I think that that's another part of this, man. When we talk about girls, man, you know, and there's so many life changes and dangers that can happen for a girl if she doesn't have a healthy man or a healthy men that can really
Absolutely,
go
bro.
serving and working and loving her like a father could. And so
Absolutely.
that's always the part that scares me too, right? Because I think last week we talked about, you know, my understanding of intimacy and learning that there were men that entered into my mother's life, but no man, including my own father, had this model for me of what it meant to really love and nurture and take care of the women in our home and in our community. And so I think that again goes back to making sure that, you know, we are giving fathers the tools so that they can show up authentically themselves without all the insecurities and the baggage that comes with when you told you're a dad, your only role is to bring a check, you know.
Come
And I
on,
think
man.
we've got to dispel that myth. You know what I'm saying? But I think too, Sean, one of the things I think is just important for people to understand too, that, you know, when we talk about prisons and jails, you know, each year in prison alone, there's over 600,000 people that enter into the gates of prison. And there's almost 10 million people a year that go to jail, right? And so I think that's something to think about too, that, and again, who are those people that are entering into our prisons and entering our jails? These typically are people that are, you know, poverty stricken, especially when we talk about jail. These are people that are struggling with substance abuse, and or we're talking about people that are involved or just, you know, trying to balance their own mental health. And then there's a recycle of going in and out of the jail simply because too you can't bail yourself out. You know, if you're in poverty, you don't have the money to bail yourself out, so you stay in jail longer. Or if you do have the money to bail yourself out, you can bail yourself out in a day, a week, or just a couple hours, and then you eventually have to go back. So I think when we start to look at the landscape of prison, you know, how do I say, the prison industrial complex, we also have to think about there are large numbers of people that are coming in and out of our system pretty rapidly, and many of those can be seen as people of color. And so I think
Oh,
that what we're seeing is that self. So that's another reason, you
absolutely,
know.
absolutely, bro. Dee Dee said, "What's up, man?" She said, "Hey, Pastor Sean," and "Hey, superhero."
Man,
Yo, what up,
thank you
Dee
for the
Dee?
love.
Yo, but you know, the
But
thing
yeah,
about it, bro, is that so many of us, you talking about the real life prison of, like, you know, those bars. But
yeah,
bro, there's so many people incarcerated that's free, bro. That's that's free for
right here,
real,
right here.
right? So when
Physically,
you looking at a mother's hurt and pain, and she can't get past how he treated her, she's living in her own prison to keep that father away. Right, because she's still imprisoned by how he treated. Now, listen, we not giving my man a pass. We're not giving my man a pass for doing what he's doing or what he did. But the thing about it is that we still have to be adult enough, be responsible enough to give that child what they need. Right? Remember, I told you before, we don't treat people how we want to be treated we should treat people how they want to be treated. So the thing
Well,
about it is that parents should think or look through the lens of what does my child need, bro, at this moment.
Well, part of when you so what I love about what you just said too, Sean, is that we have to really look at how we assess and interact with people. But I think one of the things that I think we don't do a really good job of, but we're starting to, right, in so many aspects, is that we really have to shift how we interact with our children, and not just our children, but children that live within our villages and in our communities. Because part of this really is about, is the village still the village? And this idea or this African proverb that speaks to children that are not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And so, I mean, when you begin to unpack that, the reality of it is that we have children that are acting out in ways because they want to have connection. They want a sense of belonging to their families, to their mothers, to their fathers, to the community, to their villages. But again, if we don't have a true value and respect and honor of the children that are in our community and are in our villages, and we aren't helping them feel like they belong and that they are part of who we are, then I think that's the other issue and the problem that we have. So how can I expect a father to have a true value of his children if he's been taught and has discovered across the board in his own lived experience and in the community that we don't necessarily truly value children in a way that would require us to make really sound and really solid decisions around how we take care of ourselves so that our children have all the necessities that they need to be able to thrive in a living, breathing system of people in their community. So I think part of this is really shifting how we as adults really see children and show up for children and recognize that children are not necessarily used to be told what to do, but guided and loved and recognize that they're their own human beings.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a shift it's a paradigm shift in how we interact with kids, because I think if fathers truly knew how powerful they were, and I think if fathers knew the importance of bonding and connecting with their children, but in addition to that, if mothers truly knew that and had that true understanding and value, that we would be pushing against those things that say the only real thing that a father needs to do is show up and drop off a paycheck, or holding space for him if he doesn't get it right the first time, the second time, or third time, because we understand that there are some true challenges around men showing up and being the men that they can be, because we socialize boys to be different. And so this is tough work.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
this is the thing, bro, is that a lot of times what I see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
is that I see that sometimes some parents, if they grew up without a certain parent of male not in the house or female in the house, and they believe that they turned out all right, they're saying, listen, my child to be all right. I grew up without a daddy. I grew up without a mom. I'm straight. Look at me. But what happens a lot of times, you don't even see that you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Right? You think you okay. No, let's keep it 100,
and
man.
I hear what you're saying, bro.
But because you would say, because just think about how many times we done said, like, yo, all they need is a spanking. I've been spanked. Look, I turned out all right. But did we?
No.
But did you really turn out all right?
Yeah. Well, we're challenging people to be introspective. We're challenging adults to look within and challenge their belief systems and all of the things that are associated to being a parent and parenting.
But it's necessary, bruh.
I know that it's necessary. You know that it's necessary, but to unpack that requires a lot of work, and you cannot take it personal when you start to discover that part of what has happened in the relationship with you and your children has that ownership. You got to own it, as you like to say.
Absolutely. Hey, Didi.
Adults to own this stuff.
Listen, Didi, you man, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm telling you, because that's the thing, man. We think. Listen, I was one of them. Like, yo, I got spanked. This happened to me, and I thought I was straight in my parenting. I thought I was straight, but yo, I was broken. Right? I was straight up broken, bruh. And it took me to become an adult to start really working on myself, right? And
so did it take you? did it take you really to become an adult, or did it take you to have some experiences that were painful for you to make that shift into changing the way that you parent?
I think it was more so that I got to a place of the pain in my life. I got tired of being tired.
Okay.
I got tired of being tired, and I didn't want to be, again, you hear me say it all the time. I didn't want to be a public success in the private failure, bro. I didn't want that. And so I'm like, yo, I felt bad like going out in the world and people singing my praises and clapping, and I'm going home and my wife looking at me like, do you have anything left for me?
Right.
Do you have anything left for me? And so I'm like,
Right.
yo, so how can I go out there and give everybody everything and then I don't have anything left for those who love me and who I'm responsible for? And if I'm not wrestling with them and being emotionally present for them. So that's when I started my process. But my thing is when we looking at these fathers and we looking at moms with this whole co-parenting, because bro, I get frustrated. I get frustrated because I'm trying to get with some of these moms, like, yo, I'm working with the dad. So what can I do? I had one person in particular, man. I'm not throwing nobody in the bus and I'm not mentioning nobody names, but I had somebody that I was helping, a father I was helping. They started dating. They started dating somebody who was in our program, right? Follow me. They was dating. There was somebody who was in our program. We helped him. We helped him become a better father. We established relationship with his child, the whole nine. My man is doing better. Watch this. Watch this. She has a child with a father that's in the program now.
Okay.
She calls us. We called her in the beginning like, yo, we want to work. We want this whole co-parent. How can we support? She hanging up, don't want to talk.
Right.
But she see what we've done for her new boyfriend who was in our program, how we help. Now she like, oh, I don't want you to help my child's father. Whoa, you wanted me to help the dude you dating, but your very own child, you don't want me to help my man? Why? Because you still pissed of y'all relationship on how he did stuff? Those are two different things, yo. Now I told him, like, yo, if he's beating on you, all that type of stuff, like, yo, you need to let me know because we won't give him certain resources up front. We got to work through this stuff, but we need you to communicate. But don't come on the back end now because you seeing progress. Now you're like, oh, we don't want, no, don't help him. That's whack. And so who suffers, bro? Who suffers? The child suffers. Because you and your feelings, because it didn't work out between you and him, now you want your child to go without. But my thing is, I asked you up front, like, yo, how can we help you? How can we help y'all? Because it's about the whole family. It's not just about him. We want to help the whole family. But you and your feelings, you don't want me to help him. Because if he get better, now that means he has access to child.
And so again, it goes back to one of the things that's so difficult to mend is the broken heart, you know. And I think that just listening to you talk about it, I also start to unpack for myself. I'm like, man, it's so hard to shift the paradigm, especially if the narratives are toxic, especially if you aren't well yourself, especially if I mean, it's so complex. And that I think that it should be about our children. We should show up and be able to mend these relationships and do all things. In addition to knowing that in order to do that, it really requires us to have this ability to be selfless and operate with a level of unconditional love that doesn't require any kickback. But that is a difficult place to get to.
It is.
So what I find tend to show up, and I think for me, I can speak for the mothers that I serve, right, is that I'm learning with them is that they don't even have they haven't created what's the word I'm looking for? They haven't created within themselves a space for their own self-care, for their taking the time to even heal themselves. Like they almost feel like they don't even have bandwidth to take on their own hurt, pain, joys, because there have been so many complex issues that have surfaced that could center all the way back to being a 3-year-old girl and feeling silenced and not heard and appreciated. And over time that echoes into your womanhood, right? And so, me just working to help moms sort of see that part of what's beautiful about them being mothers is that they take care of themselves in an internal way. And yes, it's really good to, do the self-care, get your nails done, get your hair done, all of those things, right? That's what everybody's telling them to do. And that makes sense. But to really unpack that and go inward and deal with the uprooting of stuff that you have been rooted to for such a long time can be very difficult, especially when the love that I had with this man created a child that I love, but then this man broke my heart, or he did the things that he wasn't supposed to do that caused a rift in my heart. But yes, I still have the gift of this child. But unpacking this child and holding on to this man and all, I mean, it's disruptive.
Yes. Yeah.
So
look what Dee say. Speak to what she said. Look what she said, man. She said she doesn't want it to get better because it will be the best, because he'd be the better version of him, and the child will see every lie she possibly added to the father's old behavior.
Hurt. So it goes back to, anybody that's operating out of that as a line of behavior, it's deeply rooted, right?
Taj said, cleaning up your insides.
Yes, I mean that is so. I mean, it's so easy to, and I'm not saying that we're doing the judging, right? But I'm saying it's so easy to judge when people don't show up the way that they ought to, and I think that at some point, yes, there are people that are getting damaged along the way as it relates to trying to heal stuff that goes back rooted to our childhood and our experiences with life and our parents. And, it's so deeply rooted that it really requires us to go inward. But if I'm working 2 or 3 jobs and I've got 3 kids at home and I don't have I don't have him present or her present, then it really becomes very difficult. How dare you ask me to go inward when I'm just trying to get through the day?
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you.
And I know why.
I'm gonna show you.
Shon, I'm not doing this.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Changing the way we see our children will change the way we parent.
And for those who just tapped in, we showed this video that
Yeah, Shon, you
with this dude, with his father was locked up for 22 years. He was locked up for 22 years, and he finally came home. And that was the response of the young lady. When her daddy came home, she cried like a baby. She didn't see him in 22 years. And that's what we just said, daddy's home, man. And that showed you the impact of a father not being present. And when he showed up, how this girl just cried uncontrollably because her father showed up.
And also just to say too that we can't make excuses for not doing the work that requires for us as parents to heal so that we aren't leaving wounds in our children. Because
absolutely,
we've got to stop making, what you just did was a mic drop in terms of, at the end of the day, we have to stop making excuses and we have to be willing to do the work because it's required for our healing. And so when I heal, my children heal. When I show up our children are happy. When I bring, when I come in with
Plug
joy.
your laptop up. Plug your laptop up. You're about to die on me. Plug your laptop.
Mine?
Yes.
Unplug?
Your camera about to die. Something about to die on me.
Oh yeah, listen, the camera, I don't know what to say about that. So listen, we gonna have to wrap it up. Listen, I gave all I gave today.
Yo, but that's real, man. That's real. Tanisha said that was his little girl crying. And man, and Dee Dee said, she said boyfriend also should encourage her to get the father of her child to take appropriate steps to heal and get right, so everyone will benefit, especially the children. That's true. That's true. I mean, he should do that. Hey, your girl Tasha talking junk. She said, "Come on, Cole, you want some Tasha stuff?" Yes, he is, Tosh.
Tosh, listen, no excuses. No excuses. That's the message for tonight.
Listen, I don't want your camera to go out before we do this legit or not legit. Listen to this, guys. Legit or not legit. I let Leah work out with me and two of my other dudes yesterday. I let her lead the exercise. She had us doing butt exercises. Is that legit or not legit? Cole, is that legit or not legit? I let her lead the gut exercise, and she threw in some glute work. I didn't even know it was glute work until my glutes started getting tight.
Listen, yeah, we want all of it.
Dee Dee said legit. Right. So you say it's legit?
Get your glutes right.
You died. I can't see you. I can't see you. I can only hear you.
Get your glutes right.
Yo, I can't see you. Tanisha said, legit. Man, listen to me. I'm telling you that it was not legit. I told her last night, you got to switch this up because I just feel some type of way with my glutes getting all tight like that. Tasha, you silly with your little peaches. Yo. Yo, word up, man. We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. Listen, we'll be back next week. Love you guys, man. Thank you for rocking out with us. Listen, we won't be on tomorrow night. We shifted it to tonight, but we'll be on next Thursday at 8 o'clock, not next Wednesday, next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Love y'all. Thanks for rocking with us and growing with us, and we'll keep doing what we do.